What if the most powerful thought in your head isn't even yours? What if it's a program installed before you could choose? If your brain learned that calm isn't safe, that danger must be predicted, then who wrote that code? Because your thoughts aren't random. They're echoes. Echoes of a moment your brain decided, this is how I survive. And what if you're still obeying it today?
Here's what makes this dangerous. Here's why it's so hard to see. Core beliefs don't feel like thoughts. They feel like gravity. You don't question gravity. You don't analyze it. You just adjust your life around it. I'm not enough. I'm not safe. I'm not capable. You don't debate them. You don't even notice them. You just live from them. And here's the question I want you to sit with, really sit with. What if the voice you call me is actually a survival program written years ago by a younger version of you who was just trying to cope? Don't answer yet. We're going to uncover it together.
Before you had logic, you had survival. Your amygdala was already learning before your prefrontal cortex could reason. Before you could explain your world, your nervous system was deciding whether it was safe. Through repetition, through tone of voice, through emotional absence, through unpredictable reactions, your brain began wiring conclusions. Neurons that fire together wire together, and slowly, silently, a belief formed. Not in language, in feeling. That's why you don't remember deciding it, but your brain did. And once that belief was wired, everything else had to match it.
Here's how it becomes invisible. Here's how it takes over. A belief becomes dangerous the moment you stop seeing it as a belief and start calling it me. If the belief is, I'm not capable, your brain will scan for proof. It will highlight mistakes, ignore wins, replay failures, edit the evidence. Not because it hates you, because it wants consistency. Your brain would rather be consistent than correct. So the belief becomes a narrative. The narrative becomes a story. The story becomes an identity. And the identity doesn't shout, it whispers. This is just who I am. I've always been this way. This is how I've learned to be. And once that sentence feels familiar, you stop questioning it. But what if that sentence, this is just who I am, is the real trap? What if it's not a fact, but a psychological firewall protecting an outdated survival program? Wayne Dyer once said, "When you say I am, you package yourself as a finished product. I am shy. I am anxious. I am bad at this. I am not enough." And once you label it, you stop questioning it. You defend it. You rehearse it. You protect it. And slowly, you become it. You don't just repeat your past. You practice it daily. And here's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes we hold on to the story because it feels safer than becoming someone new. Let that sink in. The story hurts, but it's familiar. It's predictable. It tells you who you are without asking you to change. And that certainty even when it limits you, can feel safer than freedom. Your brain is not a truth detector. It's a prediction machine. It doesn't ask, is this accurate? It asks, does this match the model? So if your model says, I'm not safe, it will interpret calm as suspicious, silence as rejection, rest as danger. If your model says, I'm not enough, it will interpret neutrality as disappointment, a glance as judgment, even kindness as pity. Not because that's what's happening, but because that's what fits the model. And because these beliefs live in implicit memory, in the body, not the narrative, they feel instinctive, they feel obvious, they feel like you. But they're learned. And anything that was learned can be retrained. Here's the part most people miss. The belief that's still running you was written by a younger version of you. A version with fewer resources, less support, less understanding, less choice. That younger you wasn't trying to sabotage you, wasn't trying to limit you, was trying to help you survive. Trying to make sense of a world that didn't always make sense. Trying to find safety in moments that felt unpredictable. Trying to protect you the only way it knew how. That changes everything. You're not broken. You adapted. Your brain learned something, and it learned it early. That's not a flaw. It was a survival strategy, one that worked until it didn't. Here's where control returns. You don't delete a belief. You outgrow it. Not by arguing with it, not by fighting it, not even by fully understanding it, by acting against it. If your mind says, I'm weak, do one small thing that requires strength, one uncomfortable action, one difficult conversation, 1 minute longer than you want to stay. If it says, I can't, try for 5 minutes. Just 5. 5-minute segments. That's it. You're not rewriting your life today. You're interrupting the rehearsal. And every interruption slightly weakens the old circuit and strengthens a new one. Slowly, a new model forms, not through force, through repetition. Because repetition is how the old belief was built, and repetition is how the new one replaces it. But here's something we haven't answered yet. How do you identify which core belief is actually running you? Not the surface thoughts, not the daily worries, the one beneath them, the source. And once you see it, how do you dismantle it without fighting your own mind? In the next video, we stop observing and start working. I'll walk you through a step-by-step method to expose your core belief, trace it back to where it began, and retrain it at the root. Because you're not fighting random thoughts. You're challenging a story your brain has been rehearsing for years. And the moment you see the story clearly, you stop being controlled by it. If you're willing, comment the word origin and tell me the belief you suspect might be running you. Not enough, not safe, not capable, or something else. Name it. Naming it creates distance, and distance creates choice. If this resonates, subscribe and turn on notifications. Next time,
We go deeper, not to manage the symptoms, but to find the root. And once you see the root, everything changes.